Game development is a tricky business, and as I'm sure you all know, it's not always smooth sailing. So today I'm going to run down 10 games that we are still waiting for, that we definitely should have had by now. First up is a game many of you may have completely forgotten about, and that's Deep Down, a dungeon crawler that shares a striking resemblance to Dark Souls. Deep Down was a title that was announced alongside the PS4, giving players a glimpse of what they could expect from the new powerful hardware. But we are now at the end of this console generation and it's nowhere to be seen, lost deep down in the depths of development hell. What's interesting, however, is that Capcom extended the trademark in July of 2018, and during an interview with Eurogamer in November of last year, stated the game wasn't completely given up on, so who knows, maybe, just maybe it will eventually see a resurgence on the PS5. Whilst we're talking about a PlayStation exclusive, Wild, a survival adventure game set 10,000 years ago, was announced in 2014 and had a really interesting mechanic where you could use and control various different wildlife animals to aid you. The game made its last big appearance in 2015, but since then, aside from the odd screenshot from the lead designer, there's been nothing in the way of new information or updates. So is it stuck in development hell for good, or is it another we could see make its way to the PS5? Who knows, but I certainly think it's possible, so fingers crossed. Next up is Dead Island 2. Dead Island 2 was also announced at E3 2014 with a unique, eye-catching trailer that was shortly followed up with a gameplay demo at Gamescom. While the gameplay wasn't particularly awe-inspiring, it did at least indicate development was progressing smoothly. However, that couldn't have been further from the truth, as since then, the project has changed developers not once but twice, with little in the way of updates. Originally being worked on by Jaeger Development, it changed hands to Sumo Digital in 2016, and as of 2019 has now passed on to Dambuster Studios. The publisher Deep Silver continues to remain adamant that the game will release eventually, but that begs the question, will anybody still be interested in it, especially with Dying Light 2 around the corner? Moving on to a distinctly very different game, we have Pikmin 4. What's interesting about Pikmin 4 is that no gameplay has ever been shown. What you are seeing on screen is 2013's Pikmin 3, but based on a quote by Shigeru Miyamoto in 2015, the game was very close to completion. So what happened? Sadly, nobody knows. Maybe due to the Wii U's poor sales, it was temporarily shelved and is being heavily reworked for the Switch, but that's purely speculation. While I don't think Pikmin is Nintendo's biggest series, I do still think it's important to them, so I don't doubt we'll get the next entry eventually. Next is another Nintendo game, one we know a little more about its situation, but that's not saying much. Metroid Prime 4 was announced at Nintendo's E3 2017 Direct with a short teaser trailer that showed off the logo. It wasn't until the beginning of 2019 that we got an update, and sadly it wasn't the one we all wanted, as they announced they weren't happy with its quality under its current developer and were effectively starting the project from scratch under Retro Studios. So while we will no doubt receive the game in the future, it will be a longer wait than we expected, although you have to applaud Nintendo's transparency on the matter. Moving on to another long-awaited sequel, we have Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's been 17 years since the first one was released, with the sequel being revealed in 2008 and some leaked footage appearing in 2009. The project was ultimately restarted at some point and the game was re-revealed in 2017, although now it's a prequel taking place before the events of the first with a new main cast of characters. Since then, small bits of pre-alpha gameplay were released up until the end of 2018, with a beta aimed for release in late 2019, but 5 months into 2020 and it's nowhere to be seen. Currently no release window or platforms have been confirmed, and it seems Ubisoft aren't aiming to release it this year or the next, leaving Beyond Good and Evil 2 beyond our reach for the foreseeable future. Beyond Good and Evil 2 isn't the only Ubisoft game experiencing development difficulties, as Skull and Bones was delayed in the middle of last year with no firm release window. Also revealed at E3 2017, Skull and Bones is an attempt at taking the much-loved ship aspect from Assassin's Creed Black Flag, expanding and basing a game around those mechanics, with its 2018 E3 gameplay looking quite promising. While Ubisoft have been quiet about Skull and Bones in the last year, I am optimistic we'll see more of it in the future, with hopefully a release on the PS5 and Xbox Series X in late 2021 to early 2022. Next up is Hellraid, a first-person RPG which was announced in 2013 and was even due to be released in the same year, however was officially delayed in 2014 to allow Techland to rebuild it in their latest engine, Chrome Engine 6. Sadly, a year later in 2015, the game was put on hold indefinitely, with Techland stating it wasn't meeting their expectations and they were going to focus on Dying Light. While Hellraid's chances of ever releasing are probably slim, what is really interesting is that very recently Techland announced DLC for Dying Light called Hellraid, which, you guessed it, is based on the game itself. Game number 9 is In the Valley of the Gods, which was announced at the Game Awards in 2017 and is in development by Campo Santo, who you might know created Firewatch and as of 2018 was bought by Valve. Since its announcement, sadly all we have is the initial reveal trailer, and as of December, the project was put on hold, missing its initial 2019 launch window. This was at least partly attributed to many of the employees moving to other games within Valve, like Half-Life Alyx. However, Campo Santo have said it's a project they believe they will begin working on again in the future. Last but not least is Half-Life 3. This is a slightly different entry from the rest, as it isn't announced, nor is it likely in development. But I can't think of a game that people have been waiting for as much as Half-Life 3, so much so in fact it's become a meme at this point. What's interesting is that Valve recently released the aforementioned Half-Life Alyx, a VR game that sold pretty well. Even though it's technically a prequel, its ending really does pave the way for Half-Life 3, it shows that Valve do at least plan to do it, even if that's not quite yet. That's it for today. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like, subscribe and hit that bell icon to receive notifications when future videos are posted. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.